left of this photo is an installation in Sweden. It's in northern Sweden. It's a surf machine that we did. And the guy surfing it, his name is William Holland. He's from this town. He didn't surf before he put in this installation. He was very enthusiastic, and he learned to do it, and he got a job there at the little surf park. And it's indoors, of course. And he probably surfed it every day after work with a couple of other guys, and they got really stoked on the sport of surfing. They all fully geared up within a year. Wetsuits, 7 mil for that area, surfboards, leashes, everything they needed. And they started surfing at the local break where there were already 2 people traveling the break. And he got better and better. He worked at the park. He got 3rd in an indoor championships that Swedish Surfing Association holds there every year in the middle of winter. And he saved up his money, I guess, and he quit his job. And we just checked his Facebook, and here he is in Bali, and evidently he's been there for quite a while. That's an impact of surf parks, which was mentioned earlier. The talk today is about wave definitions to begin with, and that's to help position what we're doing. And these icons are going to follow us throughout the presentation. I'm going to explain what each of them means. Help connect photo and video to a definition of different kinds of waves. And then our criteria for developing our technologies is going to be explained. And then we're going to talk about some existing and then some new projects, just as examples. All right, standing wave is a river wave, and we just heard a great talk on this subject. The water is mostly moving against you. It's going downstream, and you're surfing at it. This is Eli at the Zambezi River in Africa. It's a big wave. It does barrel, and it's a lot of water. So we call that a standing wave. All right. Another thing that is surfed quite often in nature is a tidal bore. We might also call it a displacement wave. In this case, it is a hill of water. It's moving kind of in the same direction as the surfer. All right, now, a swell in the ocean is different than both of those. It is a circular particle motion. The wave when it's a swell is moving in a circle, and then it breaks at the beach. This is Malibu, for example, and that's a set of swells breaking at Malibu. In a standing wave, the water on the shoulder where you're riding, it's coming at you, and then at the lip, it's going away from you. So you have energy off the bottom, but when you turn off the top, it's going away from your board. So you're losing a little bit of your momentum. As you surf close to the barrel, though, the barrel in a standing wave is coming over, so you are getting more of an ocean-type wave experience. All right. Now, a swell in the ocean a real swell is generated by wind. You get choppy sea, and it's just energy transfer. The water isn't moving anywhere. Net motion is going around in a circle. And I just wanted to show this to show you, if you can visualize what it looks like, that's an attempt to do that. And we call it, in a wave, that's really what a wave is. It's that motion of water. Okay, this is, we have in-house analysis that we do. We do it to optimize our systems, and it helps us design them. And I'm not showing you the shape and generator behind these images, but I'm showing you the resulting wave that comes out. And these are both traveling waves that I mentioned before. I didn't introduce that, but these are the kind of waves that you'd have in a pool rather than in a surf machine. Okay? On the left is a perfect swell system, circular particle motion. On the right is a displacement wave. Now, what we modeled here was one of our generators, and we modeled here as a water drop. And a typical water drop pool, or a famous one, would be Typhoon Lagoon in Orlando. And it's got a lot of red in it, which in this case is not good. The circular particle motion wave, the speed is represented as going from red to blue. What blue means is that it's going backwards. It's a negative velocity. So to a surfer, when you go to do a bottom turn, that water is actually pushing your board back up the wave. You're gaining momentum from the wave itself. When you ride a displacement wave, and you go into the trough to turn further and further, no matter how far you go, it never gets to negative velocity. it's always moving with you at some speed, so you lose a little bit of your momentum there. And so I know people have ridden both of these kind of waves, and if you've experienced that, then this is a visualization to help us understand it. So this is part of us defining what you might experience at different parks with different technologies. All right, now I'm transitioning to criteria. What did we use to guide us to develop our technology? Why did we do it? Why did we bother? For surf machines, now surf machines, again, it's Surfstream, it's compact space, it's standing waves, small footprint. We did want to mimic deep water standing wave dynamics so that you can surf it. We wanted adjustable size because we know that people going to these parks are going to be all ages, all skill levels, and a lot of them are going to be first timers, so you need to get them started learning how to stand up. And a training wave is like a face wave, and it's fairly small. It's adjustable. You can turn it up as people get better and more aggressive. You can make that wave bigger. We wanted to have multi-sport options, so be as inclusive as possible in the facility so that other water sports might use the same facility. We want to have left and right braking barreling standing waves. People are goofy foot and regular. And if you're holding a contest, you want to have both. And also, it is the most like, let's say, ocean surfing when you're riding at an angle rather than on a face wave. And finally, that the technology is scalable. We want to be able to build these things in different sizes, different business plans, different costs, and the wave itself can be different heights. And that is what I'm talking about, is Surfstream and its standing wave. All right? These are some photos of the different waves that you might see in a Surfstream surf machine. This is the training wave. Let's say it's about 2 feet. It's straight across, however wide you build it. This is not a beginner, but the point is to show that it is fun to surf and can be surfed fairly aggressively, and you can learn new things on it. Okay? Also on Surfstream, talk about turning it up. Now we're making that turbulent hydraulic jump that you've seen. It is pretty much the same hydraulic phenomena as the Munich River, for example. What we've done here is engineer in really more velocity than you get on that river, let's say on a typical day, because when it gets soft, your board just sinks into the water and you're done. So on this, we can turn this up and make it a little firmer under the board. This is what they had the contest in Sweden on, is this type of wave. Okay, multi-sports. Can you have a kayaker on it? Yes. So above is a river, and below, this is the Surfstream in Sweden. It's one of the local kayakers who showed up. Okay, then the barreling wave. So this is a facility in Peru. I'll go into it more later. The barreling wave can be right or left. This is about, roughly about a 4-foot wave, and the closer you surf into the pocket here, the more it's going to feel like an ocean wave. The water is going at you at the bottom, like in an ocean wave. The curl is pushing it back a little bit, but really not exactly the same as the ocean, but pretty close to it. All right, now I'm switching to surf pool criteria. All right, so we're just on surf machine, small footprint. Now surf pool, they're big, traveling waves, so the size of the pool is going to partly determine the length of your ride, or the shape of the pool. All right, our criteria was to mimic ocean wave dynamics. And when we learned a method to do this was back in the mid-2000s, that's when I really got excited about surf pools. I really wasn't before. I was really excited about standing waves because of being able to bring surfing to such a small space and so many people. But when I learned about being able to really recreate that same feeling that you get when you surf in the ocean, I got really excited. So we developed it, and our criteria was to be able to replicate point breaks, reef breaks, and beach breaks. And all in the same pool. We want continuous wave generation. That is, the system can pump out waves just like a wind swell in the ocean. They're always coming. You're not waiting for them. We want to be able to create an infinite variety of waves. We're picturing ourselves living with a surf park for 30 years, and variety would be a big deal if you're a frequent user. And we want this technology to be scalable too. All right, so that's in terms of pool size and wave size to fit what the most opportunities that might be out there. Okay, this is a photo. It's a still taken from a video of a scale model showing a point break style wave. And I have to show a scale model here because we haven't finished the pool yet big enough to make a point break style wave. These take the most room in the pool. This is unique to perfect swell. We're breaking across the width of the pool. What that means is that wave doesn't lose size as you surf it. It's not like a peak. The energy, you can see that the profile of the swell against the back wall there. So the next wave is coming up right at the natural period of the particular swell that we're creating. And those can just keep going. The length of ride is going to be determined by the width of the pool for a point break. But we can add bowl sections, we can add peaks to hit, to do aerials, we can close it out, we can stop it instantly. All right, this is a peak wave. So this is, let's say, replicating what you might see at a reef or a beach break. And it also demonstrates scalability. And we were trying to make it look as similar as possible so that they're colored the same, just so for a while you didn't know which was which. But on the left is a 3-inch wave, and on the right is a 3-foot wave. This 3-foot wave is from a Generation 2 Watermark Pool that we made. But we installed our system and we updated the software this year to the Generation 2 control system, and with all our pattern making capability, and made this really a perfect little peak. It wouldn't take much more pool size for that to be easily surfable. All right, and we talked about sort of an infinite variety of waves. So we're making these with multiple chambers. The more chambers you make, they're like digital pieces of an entire ocean swell. And what we're doing is we're programming those in special sequences to make different kind of waves. And the best way for us to gather that information and make it accessible to the user was just like, kind of like on iTunes or an iPhone, you have a song, you have a playlist, you collect them, and it remembers. And our system does that. And you can give your own names to the wave. You can actually program yourself. It's very easy once it's set up and commissioned for the owner. And it's of course up to them who they let do that. But you can actually make a wave real time within a few seconds and press play and look at the result. Now we do this in our office all the time when people come in, but it'll take a big pool, coming online to demonstrate that full scale. Okay, now I'm segueing now to a few examples of some installations we have and a few that are coming up. This is a really fun one. It's in Lima, Peru, and it's a surf amphitheater. It's a surf stream standing wave machine in the center, and a lot of seating around the side. It's got outdoor bar and grill. It has a 2-story dining service, serviced by waiters that you can't see. It's on this side of the photo. It has a bandstand. All day long they run it mostly for families it's in a mall, it's a seasonal mall, summer only. And they come in and the kids ride the waiver, they put the whole family on it, 8 to 10 people at a time. And they'll have their time there and all have fun in the water and hang out. But then in the evenings and on weekends, the regular schedule Friday, Saturday, they host events, whether they're either rented to companies to host parties, or they have promoters come in and do music events. It's been combined with skate events, etc. The one on the lower right is a rave, 30 hours, and the staff surfs. Yeah. I didn't go to the 30-hour rave. Yeah, average age is about 21 and a half. And the staff surfs for the events. And so that's their particular location and business model that works for them. And they're running all summer down there. It's a 3-month season, all day long and into the night. Okay, so these are some upcoming projects that we have. This is the biggest surf stream in the world, and it's also the first that's going to operate in the U.S. It's in New Hampshire, and it's called Surf's Up New Hampshire. The owners are already running an indoor skydiving business, and they've built a clientele, and they're very successful. That's also a high-power business. They did a poll, and they asked the skydivers what they thought about having a surf machine, and the response was so strong that they put that right into their business plan, and it was unanimous. Okay, another one to open in North America is Oasis Surf, and that's going to be in Montreal, Quebec, and it's going to follow New Hampshire a little ways behind. There is, I did mention another park is opening in South Dakota. Inside an adventure park, we're going to have a Surfstream surf machine that will be opening this year, also, or early next year. All right, Oasis Surf is a bar, restaurant, retail, indoor, really nice facility, and there's also some really nice interior design for it. It's next to Spin, which is a skate park. They're separate businesses, but they've been put together, by advanced planning. The owner-operator of Oasis Surf, Claude Caudry, is here, and you can talk to him after if you have some questions. Okay, this is a movie. I wonder if it'll play. Yeah. All right, this is just a short video from, this is our Watermark Pool, and we don't have surfing on it. The waves are too small, but I wanted to show you what these waves look like kind of in slow motion. They're coming out the various peaks. And we had our team go back there. They spent maybe 2 days updating the system and then testing some of the waves that, with patterns that we've already developed. It's not wide enough to do the point break style wave, but it can do, peaks all day long. And the owner didn't really want these hollow waves like you just saw there. They've never seen that before, Watermark. But when they opened to the public, they tested it, and everybody loved it. And it knocks people over. It's got plenty of power. And it actually measures maybe up to 4 feet, but it's very narrow because it's a very narrow pool. All right, we're now in Generation 3 Perfect Swell. It's everything after that Watermark installation. We've done a lot of computer optimization on it. We've engineered bigger and bigger waves for it. This is a project in Russia. It's on the Black Sea at a resort. The resort's been there a long time. It's near Sochi, side of the Olympics. And the client wanted a really big pool. He wants it to extend his season. He has rooms, and he's adding more rooms to his resort. It is just an amenity in this business plan, but the pool is big enough to warrant waves. And it's 160 feet across at the light point. And so it will be able to make point break waves and peaks up to 6 feet. So it's not a really easy place to get to for Americans, but once these waves are operational, I think you'll see a lot of people in the area traveling here, and crossing the borders to stay there. It's a very reasonably priced resort, all-inclusive, and it'll be a fun place to be. Okay, so we saved an announcement that was alluded to earlier. For Surf Park Summit, we really appreciate having this forum here to do this. And we've got, we won a contract here in the U.S. now for what will be the biggest, and newest and most modern surf pool, probably in the world. We're teaming with 555. It is the American Dream is the name of the project in the Meadowlands. And they're a visionary company. They've operated a very big surf pool for over 30 years. So they have a lot of experience with some of the technology that PT mentioned at the beginning of this seminar. And that's certainly something that we want to circle back on. The location here is about 7 miles from Manhattan, Central Park. So it's surrounded by millions of starved surfers in the winter. It's so cold there. And lots and lots of people. It's a good location. I mean, it's a prime location. It is a giant development, it's amusement park, water park, retail. It has indoor skiing, and a lot more things than I can mention. And it's a great group to work with. And they are visionary. And they are behind surfing. They've experienced it before, but maybe not had the operation plan. And now we're going to be helping them with that to know, when can you have surfing and when can you have bathers. That's a big deal for them because you can fill up these pools with thousands of people, and that's the Watermark business plan. But they appreciate sports now, and they also are really attuned to relationships, with hopefully the endemic surf industry around this pool. So this is, of course, it's a rendering. It will be a see-through roof, and we can make waves surfable waves in one part of the pool and no waves in another part of the pool with the control system. So that's our big announcement. We're really excited. It's our biggest generator system yet. It can make, well, we're spec'd at 7.5 foot peaks, and we have engineered that to be conservative. And if they're as big as we think, then it's going to be a pretty intense peak wave takeoff. It's also big enough to make point break style waves. That's the end of my prepared. There's any just one takeaway from this, surf parks, they have been here. They're here, they're coming. They're probably going to double in the U.S. within 12 to 18 months. The number of places where you can go and pay and surf on whatever type of system is going to at least double. And what you saw with wake parks, that could keep compounding very quickly. All right, any questions?
I know, I guess for the system that you mentioned here that can produce the peak waves,
yeah,
it will probably vary the amount of energy consumption based on the size, obviously. But I guess, do y'all have a particular standard size that you're looking to, I don't know, install, or is everything going to be built to suit, or will you have like different tier options?
There's options right now, let's say, of things that are already in production. So everything you see here has got parts being made right now. So the design engineering is all done. And the size we did was really for the customer and what their business plan was. It's not related to something that we require, because they have different cost needs. So the one in Russia, he's a resort. So encouraging him to make the biggest wave in the world wouldn't be necessarily the right thing for his business. On the American Dream, they have a certain buildable space. This is the size of a football field, by the way. And they also had a limit on total depth and height and a lot of things that go into planning a really big facility. And so we designed one of their limits, and that determined the peak wave set. The whole system is totally adjustable, so you only run what you want, and the energy usage is proportional to how big the waves are.
If you're, excuse me, when you're generating the waves using a groundswell system, compared to the existing pools that use a displacement wave,
yeah,
those pools generate quite a lot of turbulence after the wave,
mm-hmm.
and if you don't let that settle, then the second wave is much, much lower in quality.
Yes.
What's the cycle time by comparison with this system? Does it generate as much turbulence, and does that settle down?
It does settle down. It depends on the size of the pool and the walls and everything. Neither of these customers really need that. So we didn't design wave damping for them, and frankly, they don't have space for it. That takes a little more space. It takes a little more construction. That's okay, but that's not their plan. If you wanted to run one of these pools full tilt and also have glassy conditions, then there's going to have to be lots of absorption. Now, with perfect swell, remember, circular particle motion, it's moving the absolute minimum amount of water towards the shore. Right? It does start moving after it breaks, but now it's dissipating at a much higher rate than does a displacement wave. The displacement wave carries much more water.
Hey, Bruce, when you run this in the point break configuration, how big would the waves in this pool be?
We have a requirement for it. The requirement is, and I can't remember off the top of my head, it's contractual, and I don't want to make it public. It's somewhere 4 to 6 feet. But I think it might be at the upper end of that, but I'm not positive.
And the ride length of the point break configuration will be in this pool?
In this pool, if you can take off right at the beginning, and if we keep it full size so that you're not coming towards the shore at all, I think at that size wave it's about 10 seconds, but you're going to go right wall to wall. So what we do at the end, because it looks kind of scary when you have a tube breaking right into a wall, is we close it out right before that. So we're going to shorten that ride a little bit just so that it looks safer. But if you've got pros and events in there, then they might be bouncing off that wall.
Back here.
Oh, all right.
Just real quick, with it being in the Meadowlands, how do you think the NFL will be with that?
Well, it's public right now that they feel it's going to steal parking spaces from them. And I'll bet they're correct. I think surfers are going to mob the place. So, yeah, it's cooperative. It's actually all governed by the state of New Jersey. But there's still, yeah, there's an issue there. They will get over it. Yeah.
Can we have information on the cost and investment in Russia?
I don't. I mean, we know our costs, our deliverables. The construction over there is done by the owner. So he has all his own equipment. He hires the labor. I expect it's quite a bit less than here from what I've seen.
What does it mean? Why?
I mean, in terms of the dollars required to, form and pour a certain amount of concrete.
Okay, but what is your technology?
Oh, let me talk to you about that after, okay? Because it is, it's confidential with each customer, right? But yeah, we have all that information. Okay?
Sorry, just a second question. Am I right in saying that you're using compressed air cannons to create that model, or is that a different?
No, we are using, there is compressed air in the system, but I want to use a different term. We use, it's high volume pressure air. It's a pressure fan. So it's not that high a pressure.
Okay, what's the actual, because obviously we've had guys here that are using a wing to displace water. We've seen dropping water out of a tank into the pool to generate wave. What's the actual methodology by which the wave is generated?
Think of,
Ballpark.
okay, just to explain that in more generic terms.
Yeah.
Think of like a piston engine, all right? We're making that engine reciprocate by valving the air in and out. And so it's the way we do that that creates that wave, plus the shape of the generator and also the sync with the timing. So there's very specific timing on when everything's happening to make the waves come out low turbulence and clean and at the size and period that we're looking for.
Do you have an estimate how much it's going to cost per wave served or per hour on the New Jersey wave for the customer?
Not really. There's so much that's going to go into that calculation, but in terms of making these waves, you can do a lot of math, and you might charge $1 a wave and still be highly profitable, or less. I don't really know, but there's a lot of ways you can put a lot of people in the water, and there's a lot that's going to go into that. The power usage, we haven't boiled that down to a per wave because it's so different. Each wave actually uses, each type of wave, we've got 53 programmed now. And each one of those is different power, and then as you turn it up and down, that changes that equation. So it's a big variable. Okay, all right, thanks everybody.